Let's now move on to the fourth main topic today. And the fourth main topic today comes to us from Robert McGee, who writes, "Hey, John, I want to be careful here because I don't want to sound like I didn't love Avengers Endgame, because I did. I know that you joked about it once, but I seriously have to ask, why do the Russo brothers hate the Hulk? No, seriously. No healing factor, no rage strength increases, no highlight action sequences. They really only used him once to job, as you put it, to Thanos to show off how strong of a villain Thanos was. A lot of us were expecting some big payoff for Hulk in Endgame, but never got it. So what gives?" All right, thanks a lot for the question, Robert McGee. Why do the Russo brothers hate the Hulk? And it's true, I joked about that once. I once said, watching the Hulk in Infinity War and Endgame, I jokingly said, gosh, I wonder if the Russo brothers were bullied by a big kid when they were little, and that big kid always had like a Hulk t-shirt on, and now they hate the Hulk. I was joking at the time. But I have been seeing more and more people writing to me recently, bringing up that issue of, well, wait a minute here. What happened to Hulk? I mean, in Endgame, like you pointed out. Now, look, I think there's two ways of looking at this, and we're going to look at them both here. Number one, why did the Russo brothers so disrespect the character of the Hulk in Infinity War and Endgame? But then, at the same time, look at the ways the Russo brothers did give a lot of respect to the Hulk in Infinity War and Endgame. I think there are two ways of looking at it. Okay, so let's start with the first one. To your question, why do the Russos hate the Hulk? Well, I mean, there is some stuff to point to say that they don't think very highly of the Hulk. First of all, you're right. In Endgame, the only time they used Hulk was right at the beginning of the movie, and it was just using him to job to Thanos. Now, remember, he wasn't the only one to job to Thanos at the beginning. Thor got his ass whooped too. Remember? I mean, he killed Loki, he whooped Thor, and he whooped Hulk. But Thor had a lot of big highlight moments later in that movie, whereas that one scene getting beat down by Thanos, jobbing to Thanos, was the only scene that the Hulk had. Yeah, that's true. And then we never got to see the Hulk again. The Hulk, we never got to see him again in the movie, other than just going, no, which I thought was interesting, but we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, valid observation. They just used him to get his ass beat and then never touched him again throughout the movie, except they were setting up some big drama between Banner and Hulk, which we never got to see play out, but we'll get to that in a minute. One of the interesting things here is, look at this picture here. Remember in the MCU, there was a time in the MCU that just Banner's eyes turning green made everybody in the movie and everybody watching the movie made everybody go, oh shit, here comes the Hulk, batten down the hatches, everybody dive for cover. Like, just when the eyes started to turn green and Bruce Banner, that was, oh hell, all hell's about to break loose. Here it comes. It's happening. Everybody buckle up. Like, just the eyes turning green freaked everybody in the MCU out and freaked everybody watching the MCU movie out, because here came something awesome. As a matter of fact, in that first Avengers movie, Loki basically talked as if Hulk was their nuclear weapon. Like, when you look at the first Avengers movie, that was Loki's right there. That was Loki's ultimate ace in his hole, that he wanted to get, as Loki called him, the monster on there, right? And I mean, really, the Avengers all had to make contingency plans for what happens if Hulk gets a little bit out of control. He was the nuclear bomb. He was the nuclear bomb. He's one of the OG Avengers. We get into Infinity War, this huge movie with so many characters, and the only way they use the Hulk is to get his ass beaten to job to Thanos, and others did too, but others got to have redemptive moments later, not the Hulk. So there's that. Now you move into Infinity War, and Hulk's just gone. It's no longer Hulk. Now it's Bruce Banner. As somebody in my chat board wrote once, it's just Bruce Banner in a Hulk costume now. It's Bruce Banner in a Hulk costume. And again, we never get to see him do anything action-wise. He's the Hulk. He's this guy that when the eyes turned green, everybody knew shit was about to hit the fan. And now, not a single action sequence did he get in Avengers. And when you look at the past two Avengers movies, he got one action sequence, which was just him jobbing to Thanos. And it's the Hulk, the ultimate nuclear weapon. It's him, and they just completely discarded him. And they didn't use him at all. Hell, everybody in Infinity War got a big highlight action sequence, except the Hulk. I mean, Okoye got a big action shot. Obviously, Captain Marvel did. A Scarlet Witch did. All the other Avengers did. Everybody got these great big moments, huge action sequences, blah, blah, even if it was just short, whatever. Hell, the Wasp got to kick some ass. Gamora, who only showed up for a few seconds, got to kick some ass. Drax, who didn't even have a line of dialogue in the movie, at least got to jump on one of the Black Orders. Was it Cull Obsidian? I think that's who. Jump on his back and start stabbing, blah, 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 all this. Even Dax, who had no lines of dialogue in this movie, all we got to see the Hulk do was run into action, but we didn't actually get to see him do anything. And this is the Hulk, right? This is the Hulk. So, yeah, there is one way of looking at it and going, what the hell? How have you disrespected? Why do the Russo brothers hate the Hulk? They gave love to everybody else, and they just completely disrespected the Hulk character. I get it, and I don't think you're wrong to think that way. However, let me point a couple of other things out. Again, I'm not saying you don't have a right to feel that way, because everything we just said was true. But there are other things the Russos did with the Hulk that I would suggest, while all those other things suggest they don't respect the Hulk, I would propose to you that there are a number of things they did do with Hulk that do suggest they have respect for the character. Okay? So just follow me along here. Number one of the more interesting things I thought they did in Infinity War was this lovers quarrel between Bruce Banner and Hulk. Like, come on, you big dummy. No, like that was a really interesting thing. The Hulk refusing to come out and actually seeing interaction between Banner and the Hulk. We had never seen that before in the MCU. That was a new thing. You know, the Russo brothers came along in Infinity War and they introduced this new element of actual conflict between, I mean, we always know the two sides are at war at each other philosophically, but now we actually see them interacting. We see them having a conversation amongst themselves. That was something we had never seen in the MCU before. And it was radically intriguing, and I thought it was just really interesting. And it seemed like they were setting something up for some great resolution later. Now, granted, we never got to see it actually work itself out, but still, I thought that was really, really fascinating. And for the first time, it really let us focus on the Banner side of the equation. Usually, we're just focused on the Hulk side of the equation. In Infinity War, we got to focus on the Banner side of the equation, and I like that. Now, let's move into Endgame. There is a number of things in Endgame that I think that the Russos show that they do have a good amount of respect for the Hulk character, but they just wanted to do something different with him, right? First of all, he is one of the masterminds. I mean, you see him working with Tony. He is a brilliant scientist. They're working that whole thing out. They gave him a couple of great comedic moments in the movie. They gave him a couple of great comedic moments. One was the introduction scene when they're in the diner and the kids are coming for his autograph. Come on. I've seen that movie in theater 4 times now. I still haven't got my 5th yet. But every single time, the audience is in stitches when the kids come over to ask for his picture, right? That's a funny scene, and people loved it. Another one somebody brought up on one of my shows yesterday was just that he didn't have any dialogue in it. You know, Ant-Man, he loses his tacos, and Hulk comes along and hands him a couple of tacos. That scene was great. I love that. The whole thing about the time travel, when we set up the time travel initially. Remember, he executed time travel before Tony showed up just to make sure they could stabilize it. He did send, Ant-Man Scott 1 week into the past, and then, unfortunately, though, put time through him instead of putting him through time. But that one moment was great. It's like, You are kidding, right? I don't know. This is time travel we're talking about. We're good. I mean, that was hilarious. They had a number of moments like that throughout the film that I thought were highlights. But the big thing for Hulk in Endgame, of course, is that a lot of people who have seen Endgame still mistakenly say Tony saved the day. Tony undid the snap. He got rid of the bad guys. Nah. Hulk saved everybody. Hulk is the one who undid the snap. And I don't think we should just gloss over that. I don't think we should just gloss over the fact that it was Banner, Hulk, who first donned the gauntlet and brought everybody back. He was the one that undid everything. And if Hulk hadn't done that and didn't bring everybody back, then Thanos would have won. Because Thanos shows up, all the supporting armies wouldn't have been there to support them. All the returning characters wouldn't have been there to put up the fight. And, Thanos and his armies would have just wiped what was left out completely. That is a singular honor that the Russo brothers bestowed upon the Hulk to do in that movie that no other character had. And yes, later, Tony also made a great sacrifice to wipe out the new threat with the Thanos from the past now here with his armies. He took care of that. But it was Hulk that brought everybody back, and if he didn't do that, nothing else that would have happened after that moment would have mattered. So, again, I see 2 points of view here. On the one, I totally get people being upset about the way they used or lack thereof the Hulk in these movies. I get it. But I would also say that in the midst of that, make sure you keep in your thinking the fact that the Russo brothers tried doing something very different with the Hulk than we ever expected. They also gave him some really highlight moments, and they gave him what I would propose is maybe the ultimate honor moment in Endgame. Now, I still wanted to see Hulk. Yeah, I still think the Russo brothers should have at least given the Hulk his moment. They should have given him something in Endgame. I do agree with that. But when you look at what they tried to do and the honors that they gave him, I don't think you can say that the Russo brothers hated Hulk. You may hate how they used Hulk, but when you see what they did with him and how much they actually put into the character, whether we like what they did or not, I personally feel at the end of the day, the Russo brothers didn't hate the Hulk. You may hate what they did with them, but I don't think they hated him. I think they tried to do something really different, very unique, very special. And for a lot of people it worked, for some people it didn't, and that's fine. Actually, I saw a new hashtag going around, some people using the hashtag Justice for Hulk. Instead of Justice for Han, hashtag Justice for Hulk. All I can say is I really do hope at some time in the near future we get to see Hulk be Hulk again in the MCU. I really hope we get to see Hulk be Hulk again because he's the monster. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. What do you think about all that, guys? Jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.